Hi there, listeners.
Today we're brought to you by Yokkao, the world's most prolific Muay Thai brand.
That's right. We're so excited to be teamed up with Yokkao to bring you the best Muay Thai gear.
Honestly, mate, as a coach, it took me a long time to find pads that don't wear down after a few months, but my Yokkaos are staying strong.
It's the worst when you get kicked in the forearms with bad pads.
Yeah, it is the worst, especially when you have to do it every day.
If there's one thing you should never compromise on with martial arts, it's the gear that keeps you safe.
100%, mate. And Yokkao has the absolute best quality of training gear, gloves, shorts, and clothes as well.
Not only that, it's the best value for the quality of the equipment too.
Also, Yokkao are offering you 10% off any purchase by using code CombatCasuals10 at the checkout.
That's Combat Casuals 10 with no spaces.
Get yourself some top quality Muay Thai gear and save some cash. Hello, listeners. Before we get started today, I just want to do a big shout out for one of our sponsors, Power Body Nutrition. They sell all kinds of sports supplements, vitamins and minerals and health foods. If there is anything you need and you don't want to spend too much getting it, you can visit powerbody.co.uk. Alternatively, if you have your own health store or pharmacy or gym and you want to stock up, you can visit the wholesale site powerbody.eu. Ian, I'm not sure if you've used Powerbody before, but good stuff.
I have used it before. It's a great website, really easy to use with lots of products on there. And it gets even better if you use it through us because we have a great discount code too.
Oh, yeah. What's the discount code, Ian?
What is our discount code, Justin?
Fuck's sake. It's Combat Casuals 10. All one word and the number 10. Combat
there you go.
10. It's
Combat Casuals 10. That's my answer to your previous question.
Lovely. Cool. Right, let's do it. Let's get on with the podcast. Hello and welcome to the Combat Casuals podcast.
If you're a fan of mixed martial arts and all things related, stick around.
We'll be talking everything from past and future events
to harnessing your inner chi and everything in between.
We want to provide you with the opportunity to get involved in the ultimate fighting conversation.
We've been friends for too long now.
And we always have strange conversations.
So we thought, hey, why not make a podcast?
I'm Dustin.
I'm Ian.
And we're the Combat Casuals.
Why have we not done better? Well, let's talk about marketing.
Strategy, yeah. Everyone, today we're going to take you through all the things we've missed with our marketing strategy.
Why we're shit.
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, you know, it's been fun. I've enjoyed. I made it sound like it's coming to an end. It's been fun. It's been good.
I don't think anyone... I mean, I didn't realise from the first handful of episodes that we've been doing it in seasons, but on Anchor... Anchor is where we upload our podcast, for anyone who wants to know that. You do it in so we're doing seasons of 10 episodes. So this is our 20th episode that we're recording.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
The big 2-0.
The big 2-0. Fantastic. And look how far we've come.
We're still doing...
Tell them what's new. Tell them the exciting news.
We've been talking production and now marketing. That's the new.
There's no news. Nothing's happening.
Not really.
We have some cool guests lined up. None for today, but we have some cool guests coming on. No, sorry, not for today.
We've got cool guests, but not now.
Let's tell you all the reasons you shouldn't listen today, but perhaps come back.
That's amazing. We got good people lined up. Nothing for today, though. We got nothing to talk about.
Now we've got a few questions. We've got a few questions. I mean, is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's, we should. Right. Let's jump in. Let's just say, what else are we going to do?
I didn't know if that was too forced.
Yeah.
Oh well. Right. So, question number 1 that I got asked was, which fighters, if any, from back in the day, their words, not mine, do we think would stand the test of time? So, for example, if we took a Chuck Liddell or Randy Couture or something like that, and took them in their prime and just placed them into today's roster, how would they do?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it? Because
I think so.
Yeah, I think martial arts has changed so much. Well, mixed martial arts, has changed so much since, the UFC, and even before that, the first UFC card.
Yes.
Since our first episode. Since the first UFC card, things have changed dramatically. Back in that one, it was, you had people coming in with one boxing glove on.
Was it Jimmy? Was it Jimmy?
Yeah,
What was his name?
he wouldn't do well, I don't think.
What
Wearing
was his
one
fucking name.
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, so am I.
I'm going to our fact checker.
I swear it was Jimmy. Where's young Jamie? Art Jimmerson. Art Jimmerson.
Art Jimmerson.
Yeah, that's kind of close.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you know, you
Art
had people
Jimmerson
turning
with
up,
that one glove. That was so.
and
cool.
a sumo wrestler, and now it's like you have that generation of fighters who've grown up being mixed martial arts fighters, rather than being like, this man is a boxer, this man is a BJJ fighter. It's this man is a mixed martial artist. So yeah, it's different, isn't it? And is there anybody that sticks out in your mind as like they would do well, or maybe not championship because maybe it's changed so much, but or is there anybody you think could be a champion in today's sort of like MMA area?
So I have a pretty open and shut case opinion on this matter across the board for all sports. So hear me out, because some people don't like this, because a lot of people will say the same thing. Like, a really common question that some people talk about is like, oh, who's the greatest footballer of all time? And people say Pele often, or similar, or Maradona, or whatever. In sports where you can directly track success, like, so for example, the 100 meters, right? We there's a world record. It gets broken. We have a new world record. Okay, so we can safely say that no sprinters in the history of ever can beat Usain Bolt, because he holds the world record. And that was quite recent, right? Most records are recent. Same with like strongman and weightlifting. Eddie Hall, 500 kilo deadlift. That's never been done before. Then Hafthor, obviously 501, bit cheeky, but you get what I mean? You can apply numbers to that and say, that's how far we've come. So why would you ever assume that that's not the case across all sports? That you know what I mean? Like, things just improve, people get better, the talent pool grows, everyone's knowledge on the sport increases. So better ways to train and better. So no, I think across every single sport, today's best guys are probably the best guys.
Yes,
or very close to. So if you don't go back too far, like Anderson Silva, that's not very long. So yes, absolutely, he was a supreme talent. I think if you put Anderson Silva in his prime back in today, that'd be fantastic. I think he would probably be the champion again over Adesanya, but we'd at least see some brilliant fights.
Totally.
But that's not very long ago, so it's a silly question. But if we go back to the start, for example, Royce Gracie, Royce, I love Royce Gracie, but if you put him in there today, his level of jiu-jitsu is matched by so many people in the UFC.
I mean, I know he was a bit older when he faced Matt Hughes, but Matt Hughes did mess him up. I know he was older.
He won because nobody knew jiu-jitsu. Now everybody knows jiu-jitsu, and we're going to struggle. Yeah,
exactly. I think the only person who stands out in my mind, if we're doing it like we look at, because also MMA is such like obviously it's been around for a long time, but it's comparatively to say boxing or any other sport that you just talked about, like sprinting or any other major sport, they've been around a lot longer than mixed martial arts, and it's still like younger, it's still growing, and we're still learning. Like, we can talk about rule changes, etc., and I'm sure there's questions about that rules change all the time, and we're still using gloves from back in the day when we should really be looking at different gloves. It's a whole change in sports. Yeah, bare knuckle. It's a massive change in sport. And the fact that there is a market for bare knuckle fighting shows that we are learning more about markets for martial arts and what people want to see. But I think somebody who like stands out, if we're going to go from like the early days of, say, UFC, Pride or something like that, and it is another, I guess, Gracie family member, is Rickson Gracie. I think he would probably do. I don't know, as we say, like, the sport has changed so much since then to now, that like Rickson against, say, light heavyweights, middleweights, etc. He's a legend, but it's hard to say like, oh, he would win belts at that level. Yeah. But I think he would do pretty well. Like, I feel because
they all do well, right? All of the greats from the past would do well. Like, even in sprinting, you take world record holders from 50 years ago. You still got some guys who can run sub 10, so they'd still be in the Olympics. They just wouldn't be winning, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Still progress.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't want to be really trashing Royce, because obviously the guy's a legend and I'm not trashing him at all, but I think they
sounds like you're trashing him, Ian.
He'll come and fuck me up, mate. He would literally fuck me up, that's for sure. But so I'm not going to trash him. What I was going to
blue belt. I don't know.
I don't know. time, mate.
Going out on a haircut. He's ready.
But like I think he was chosen, wasn't he, because he was the smallest of all of the siblings, and he was like
right. He was
yeah.
Was he the youngest? I'm not sure, but he was one of the smaller ones.
He was one of the smaller ones.
Prove jiu-jitsu's dominance
better
by
whereas
putting in
Hickson,
the least physical person.
Yeah, whereas Hickson was kind of like a bit of an athlete specimen, like he
more like you.
He, a bit more of an even matchup, that one.
yeah.
That
would have been fair. Yeah, you and Hoyce, that's unfair.
So I think Hickson, like, again, it would be Hickson in his prime rather than Hickson now, because that would just be mean. But yeah, Hickson in his prime.
I'm quite confident that was definitely the question, not fighters from back in the day at their current state.
Yeah. How would they do?
Like how Liddell came back against Ortiz. Like, even that was a stretch. You know, I mean, Ortiz is quite old as well. But imagine putting Chuck in there with anyone.
Do you remember?
On the middle or lightweight.
Do you remember Chuck Liddell once did say that he could beat like John Jones now? Like at that point, it was like.
I remember that. Yeah, but he was off his tits, wasn't he?
He was a bit off his tits on cocaine.
His jaw was saying things on his behalf that I don't think he understood.
His brain wasn't connected. There wasn't.
It was just.
It was all cocaine brain, you know. And well, which
like
that
John
would be.
Jones.
I was going to say that would be a great fight. Who would be more high? You know,
that fight. We just let them do anything they want. Take whatever you want. I'd watch that. That'd be a good fight.
Yeah. That would be a fight of who's gurning more, John Jones or like, Chuck Liddell.
Yeah.
But mad. That's a mad. Like, no offense to Chuck Liddell again, but don't be stupid. That's
even prime Chuck Liddell. Like, anyone who's ever listened to an episode of our podcast, we fucking hate John Jones.
Yeah, I mean, we have an episode called "Fuck John Jones."
We do, but let's be realistic. Even prime Chuck Liddell would lose horrifically to prime John Jones.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's painful to say because I really hate John Jones, and I also question the legitimacy of his like reign due to the numerous steroid abuse. It's not just one; it's several times.
Agreed.
But even so, the guy has like natural talent, like with an asterisk next to it, and his skill set comparatively to Chuck Liddell's or anybody of that light heavyweight division at that time. There's nobody that I think compares with John Jones's skill in the ring, because like it is crazy. Like when you watch like his scissor reel of like his ability. Again, there is such a massive asterisk, but I just don't think there is anybody at light heavyweight history, like throughout the history of the light heavyweight division, that I think would match up to John Jones now.
This is the thing when you discuss John Jones's ability, though. Like nobody, including us, doubts how good he's definitely very good.
Oh yeah.
The only question is, would he be as dominant as he's been? Would he be champion for as long as he was champion had he not taken performance enhancing drugs? Obviously, you can watch him. And the way he moves, like your reflexes, like your rhythm, your motion, all of these things are natural to you or they're not. They're not changed by performance enhancing drugs.
No.
But your endurance and your strength, like that is changed. So he's obviously a fantastic fighter, but would he have been as good without the peds is another question. But that's an annoying thing you always have to deal with when you have this debate with John Jones fans.
It really frustrates.
He would have kicked him in the head regardless. Yeah, maybe, but would it have been hard enough to knock him out? Would his timing have been perfect? Would he have had the energy by that point and then the fight to get it done the same way he got it done? These are all really questions you can't answer. Yeah, right? It's cheating for a reason. If it wasn't cheating and it didn't make a difference, they'd allow it in the sport, and it's not allowed in the sport. So it's
it's really
Jones.
Fuck John Jones. It's really frustrating because I remember when me and you like first met basically, and we were.
I don't. Tell me about it. Genuinely, I don't remember. Do you?
No, I don't mean when we. I can't remember when we first.
It was
a
rainy
met.
Tuesday.
I saw him from across a room. No, I mean when we first started training together, you introduced me to UFC, and I remember seeing videos of like GSP and stuff. And this was before John Jones basically. What's the word I want to use? Not demasked, but like we saw the true side of John Jones. Because I think before that,
I liked him at that time.
Yeah, I was about to say we both liked him.
I had a poster of him.
Yeah, he was fucking awesome, and watching him was sick. And he also, I remember in a post-fight interview, he was talking about when he caught a guy robbing like some people, and like they chased after him, and it at the time, like obviously it all came across as like, oh, this really genuine, nice, like hard-working guy, and
lovely Christian boy.
And it just immediately, like, the second, I mean, he had some little things with cocaine and things like that, which, but when he hit that pregnant woman.
Us,
we don't.
Let's just clear that up.
Just made that clear right now. But when he hit that pregnant woman in his car and he ran off and then ran back to the scene to get his drugs.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's mad, right? It's mad.
Movie.
Well, yeah, when you say
on, like Snatch or Lock, Stock.
It's mad when you say it out loud that he did that, and it just completely popped that bubble of who he was.
Yeah.
Like, it really just was like, wow, this guy's actually a scumbag. Like, he's actually a piece of shit. And you're right though, and it is frustrating because there's so many people, even with the awful things he's done, most recently, allegedly attacking his wife, which, I mean, he did, but you libel, but It's
you can't just say libel and it makes it not libel. You can't say it. It's not true. You go, I know this is illegal, but because I've acknowledged it's illegal, it's okay.
I didn't break the law.
Like, don't worry, I know I'm robbing the shop, but I know I'm robbing the shop, so I'm not really robbing the shop.
Yeah. Is it really a crime if I know that I'm committing it?
I know I'm committing it. Yes. Prison is just full of people like,
walking around.
Told me.
Yeah, you told me I couldn't kill somebody? Oh, what? What? When did that happen? When did they bring that law in? But I've lost my trail of thought. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Good,
because some
this
people
is turning into another John Jones episode.
But no, it does link back. I'm looping back. We're doing well. This is professional. What I was going to say is that even though those fans who are blind to the fact that he's an awful person, it's frustrating because you do have to go, yeah, he is probably the best light heavyweight fighter ever. Because
you can't say that, Ian.
But there's a massive asterisk. Like, I've said this to everybody who I talk to. Yeah, fine. I acknowledge that if we did take Randy Couture, who I think's probably one of the best fighters ever, you put him against John Jones, I think John Jones would win, like, just on their skill level. But I don't know fully because of the steroids. It's hard to do anybody in light heavyweight division against John Jones.
People you're having to debate this with will likely not know what an asterisk is.
That's harsh. Some people really like John Jones.
Fuck John Jones, and if you like John Jones, fuck you too.
Please
like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe our incredibly professional podcast. Well, tell you what, then that's a good way of maybe framing this. Is there anybody in each division that you think would do well now? So light heavyweights, I think Randy Couture would do really well. He'd probably do well at heavyweight still, but probably wouldn't be champions.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anybody you think?
From any division?
Any division. Any division.
Well, this is the thing. How long ago were we talking? So it was a good point you brought up. So let's say, MMA. Let's talk about the start of MMA from the early 90s, because the UFC started in 93. So what is old? Do you know what I mean? When we talk about fighters from back in the day, some of them are still going. So
it's true.
It's really hard to say. I don't know. To be honest, no. I think I think that you're going to hate me here, mate. I think GSP would have a hard time now.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
I really
knew you were going to say that.
I think Usman would do GSP.
No, do you?
I do, yeah.
Do you?
And I think when Woodley was on his run, I think Woodley may have done him.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. When obviously not recent Woodley. I don't know what happened to him. He just became a little melt. But whilst he was on his run, yes, I do.
Sorry,
mate.
Usman's a difficult one because I think Usman's. I'll give you Usman is one I think we could have more of a discussion on. Tyron Woodley, I don't know, man. I know, I really don't know. I know he had
done him as well.
He had a good run, but that fight with Damian Maia, it was pretty poor. That was a really poor fight.
That's what I'm saying. When he was on his run, I think he was smashing it. I think he would have done GSP.
I disagree with Tyron Woodley.
That's okay. We're allowed to disagree.
That's the end of the podcast. Yeah. On season 2, it's the end of the podcast.
No, that's the end of it all. We're done. We're not speaking. We can't get past this. This is a deal breaker.
That's the deal breaker. We all have to love GSP. Yeah. No, Kamaru Usman though, it's a really good comparison. I think It's hard because people are talking about. Well, Dana White said that Usman's the greatest of all time, which I think's perhaps a bit too soon to say that for Usman. I think he's probably the second best welterweight ever. I think he's probably better than Matt Hughes, but he hasn't defended it as much as GSP, so it's hard to go. And also, GSP did do it against a lot of very, very high talent.
Yeah.
Not that Usman's not, and he is clearing out his division. He's looping them, that's the crazy thing. But I'd like to see Usman faced like with Covington is like really impressive as well. So the two of them are very comparable. GSP kind of outclassed pretty much his entire division for a very long time. And he made people who I think we would consider probably some of the best ever look like nowhere near as good as him. So I think Usman has partially done that with like, say, Jorge Masvidal, but with people like Covington, that's a very close matchup. And I'd like to see him face Leon Edwards again because Edwards deserves it. I think he will beat him again because he's very good. But then we've got really interesting up and comers with like Chimaev coming up, and that's a really interesting matchup. And I think Usman wins that, but that's a really interesting fight. And if he does something like that, then I'd be like, yeah, he's probably the best of all time, because you are right. And it's hard for me to say it because I do love GSP and I still think that would be a really, really good fight. But Usman, because we are so up to date with the sport now and the sport's moved on so far than it did before, Usman probably is better than everybody that's gone before him, right? As champion. You'd think so. Well, like that's
just logic, isn't it? That's logic. That's how sports work. Records are made to be broken. You can't have. Yeah. I mean, obviously there are records in the UFC. You know, most knockdowns, most knockouts, longest title reign, blah blah blah. But the opponents change, so they don't really mean anything.
No, no, exactly.
It's inconsistent competition level. So you would assume that logically, the most recent guy is the best guy. The thing about what you said about Chimaev is really interesting because obviously you talk about that potential matchup with Kamaru Usman, which is really interesting. Obviously, you would assume Usman would win that fight because he's the best in the world at the moment. But the thing with Chimaev is, while he hasn't fought many big names, so it's hard to say how he'd do against the better guys in the division, he hasn't really struggled yet. Like, we've not seen anyone challenge him. So it's hard to picture someone beating him when you haven't seen any way that they could beat him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. He is a really interesting commodity as a fighter because you are 100% right. He's not really fought anybody. I don't want to downplay the people he's fought because obviously they're all UFC talent and they're all up in there and they deserve to have that monicum of being a UFC fighter.
Definitely.
But he's made all of them look completely like they've looked bad. Like, I don't want to be horrible to them, but they look.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It's like, I think Usman is like phenomenal and he deserves to be pound for pound best in the world right now, no matter how much John Jones cries about it. But it's true. He is the pound for pound best right now. I think that matchup is really interesting. I do think Usman wins, but it is kind of like working out why Usman would win because what's the hole in his style? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Like it's just because I think Usman's so at
all of the same thing. Like, if someone doesn't have any like really visible holes in their game, you just have to rely on the other person being better at the same things. And is he? Maybe. I don't know, but it's very hard to tell.
It's very difficult to tell. It's too early, and I do think he should be fighting somebody like, he was meant to fight Leon Edwards. That's a really good fight for him. I feel bad for Leon Edwards because I feel like Edwards would lose. I really like Leon Edwards as well. Just maybe because I feel bad. I like him because he's an underdog. He's been mistreated, I feel, because he should have a title shot by now. So I'm rooting for him. So, but I'm like, don't fight him, please. Please don't fight him. But him versus, I think it was meant to be Rafael dos Anjos. I think dos Anjos would get messed up. But it's interesting to see him in that top like 10 fighters, how he would do. I'm just trying to think of anybody in that top 10. Maybe Covington and him would be an interesting fight.
Of course, I think anyone who's equally good at striking and grappling is an interesting fight.
Yeah. I think Covington could also, or at least Covington's camp could maybe figure out that puzzle. But it is just there's very limited information to like work out on. You know, like there's not many videos of him, barring like
Well, that's the
amateur
thing.
stuff.
Yeah, the shorter your fights, the less your opponent has to figure you out.
Yeah,
You're exposing holes. The longer you fight for, the more you expose all the holes in your game.
exactly.
Yeah.
What is interesting though is something that Dan Hardy always said about fighters' records. When he sees somebody with an like 10-0 record or something like that, he takes it. It's obviously it's incredibly impressive, and I think Dan Hardy is one of the best like analysts of the sport. He's phenomenal in his YouTube channel. I've watched pretty much every single one of his breakdowns because they're amazing. But when he sees that, it's like you haven't learnt. You've not had an opportunity to have adversity to then learn how you need to change your game. Whereas if he sees like a 1 or a 2, you've lost, and thus you've got the opportunity to learn something. And Usman, in fairness, I think he's only got 1 loss. So, yeah, he's still on a ridiculous run, but he's had a loss that's made him perhaps learn not to do something or have something that's like clicked in him. Now, I'm not saying that that's the same for Chimaev, or how do you say his name? I'm pronouncing it wrong, Honor.
I think.
Kamaev. That's not the same for Kamaev necessarily, because he may just be that skilled that he will just have an O record. And I mean, Khabib did. So, you know, this doesn't mean that it's gospel. But I did find that an interesting take when you do have somebody that's 11-0 or 20-0, that it's a fighter who hasn't had perhaps the right matchup to make him learn how to change his game.
I have to say, right, I do get what you're saying, and I do respect Dan Hardy, but that just sounds like such a load of bullshit to me.
That was fair. That was fair.
Like, oh, you know, he could be a lot better if he didn't keep winning. Do you know what I mean? Like
I think he meant
silly.
it.
Like, that's so silly. I get what you're saying. Like, he hasn't had the holes in his game exposed yet.
That's what I think he's getting
but
at.
To me, this is the same theory as like innocent until proven guilty. Like he doesn't have any fucking holes, and that's why it's not been exposed. Or like he's really good at hiding them. Maybe like to me, that's such a funny. You know what I mean? Like funny
fair enough.
I do get it. I do get it. But someone in my mind, someone who hasn't lost is always going to, like, assuming the competition level was the same, someone who hasn't lost is always going to be better than someone who has. Like, do you know what I mean? You know why he's so good? Because he keeps fucking losing. Hey, McGregor recently, what a fucking champion.
Yeah.
Mate, he is learning. He is really learning.
Don't you think that, like, yeah, you're right. As I say, it's not gospel, and it also is not like this.
Absolutely is not.
No, and also it's not 100% foolproof either. But what I mean is, like, with Charles Oliveira, for example, he's had a string of losses that have spurred him on to improve his game to become a champion. Whereas, look, I'm not saying Charles Oliveira would beat Khabib, not at all. But Khabib will always have a bit of a question mark against him because he never went against like an out-and-out phenomenal jiu-jitsu practitioner like Charles Oliveira. Like, so we're always going to be like, would he have lost against somebody like that? If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean. I don't think so, but another thing. So less with Khabib, but more so with, this is a thing I've had with Anderson Silva before. And in my opinion, Anderson Silva is the greatest of all time. Some might say GSP, some might say John Jones. They're all fair enough.
Say GSP.
Yeah, GSP is a fair enough shout as well. But in my opinion, it's Anderson Silva. One of the things
whoever said John Jones can fuck off, that's one. It's
one of the things people love to say about Anderson Silva is, but the talent pool in the middleweight division wasn't very good. Like, he fought a bunch of nobodies. So what I'll say about that, because you touched on it, you said about Kamaev making guys in the UFC look not very good. The only reason it appears that Anderson Silva fought nobodies is because of Anderson Silva.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He was around for long enough to make the entire division look like a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah.
Whereas GSP lost to Matt Hughes, beat Matt Hughes, lost to Matt Serra, beat Matt Serra. You know, BJ Penn was from a different division. He had adversity, and he overcame adversity, so it made his opponents look better. Had George St. Pierre run through all of those opponents, we would have said, oh yeah, but there was nobody in the middleweight division.
Yeah,
up to scratch. It's because he made them look like they were nobodies when they weren't. He had some fantastic opposition.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that, and I do think that's semi-similar to GSP, but in after he beat Matt Serra, because
Yeah, of course. But
then
you understand what I'm saying.
yeah, I
That more
completely agree with you.
legitimizes George saying,
Yeah.
yeah, because by losing to other people, it legitimizes them. Then he comes back and wins, and well
Yeah.
done. Do you know what I mean? Whereas,
I completely agree with you.
yeah,
I
Anderson
completely
Silva
get what you.
rocks that division for
Yeah.
years. So
Yeah, he did.
same
He
with
did.
with the flyweight division. Nobody was watching flyweight. Oh, because there's no one in there. There's plenty of people in there. It's just Demetrious Johnson makes them look like shit.
Yeah, I always got annoyed with that because I always found that so. I got really pissed off with people who would be like, "Oh, DJ's just beating tin cans." He is not at all, and he never did. The things that he pulled off, like that flying armbar, is crazy. It is crazy.
I get it though, because if you don't stop to think about it, of course that's how it appears. Like, okay, so when Usain Bolt broke the world record, who came second, third, and fourth? Fuck knows. Nobody. Like, I'm sure plenty of people who watch athletics.
I was about to say there is one guy who I know, but mainly because he got really annoyed that Usain Bolt kept winning. Like that's the only reason I know.
I'm saying nobody knows. So you could, if you were a fucking idiot, if there was no world record to beat in the 100 meters and it was just a matter of winning, you could easily say, yeah, but Usain Bolt was running against a bunch of nobodies. They're only nobodies because Usain Bolt's there.
Bolt made him into nobodies. Yeah, exactly, man, exactly. I get that as well, and it's kind of that is similar to I guess a lot of people who have that sort of record, particularly Anderson Silva, Khabib, possibly in that discussion as well.
A little bit Khabib, of course, Khabib, because people don't recognize some phenomenal talent that Khabib beat because of how easily he beat them. So, like Michael Johnson and Edson Barboza, people talk about Khabib's wins and they talk about McGregor and Gaethje and Poirier. Mate, Barboza and Johnson and that are killers, and people don't talk about it because it was easy. He walked in, he was like, "Get on the ground, choke you out, nice one, thanks, mate, see you later."
Yeah,
and it's like, they're not nobodies. Edson Barboza is a fantastic talent.
Totally, man, and I think that's why, like, again, that sort of thing of making your opponent look better. I know it was a short notice fight, but that's also why I give so much props to Al Iaquinta, man. He lasted 5 rounds. He got Khabib definitely won. But man, he did well. Like, Jesus, he did so well.
He did really well. He did really well. Like, to just step in late like that and
yeah. He's apparently retired now, man. He's talking about that.
No, that's a shame because
it happened very.
He's gone, but I think Al Iaquinta after that fight deserved more opportunity than he was granted.
Yeah, massive credibility. One, stepping up against. Look, I'm not a UFC fighter, but like. Khabib's terrifying. Like, I imagine if I was there, he's terrifying, dude. Like, on short notice, and then not only to last 5 rounds, but look all right in the beginning, and then obviously Khabib took over the rest of the fight. I think he needed so much more credibility, but he lost his last fight, and I think,
mate, not just that. Have you seen his last little run after Khabib?
No.
So he beat Kevin Lee. That's decent.
Yeah.
But then he lost 3 in a row to Cerrone, Hooker, and Bobby Green. There you go then. Decision, TKO. Okay, fair enough.
I remember the last one. The last one was pretty Bobby Green did him in, and I felt bad because I really like Al Iaquinta, but in fairness to him, he said he makes more money doing real estate, that he works on real estate now, and fair play to him. I mean, if you're not, I guess it's like if you're not feeling it, then don't go in there and cause yourself further injury.
He'll always be known as the guy who gave Khabib a hard time.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, he beat
100%.
Who else has he beat? He beat Jorge Masvidal, Kevin Lee, Diego Sanchez, Joe Lozon, Ross Pearson. He's beat some people.
I think the big one is Kevin Lee twice, right?
Randy Couture.
Really?
He beat Randy Couture in 2013. I've just seen that decision at UFC 164.
What?
That's so random. Bro, what? That's so weird.
Which one? UFC 164.
I'm fucking with you, mate.
I was about to say.
It's Ryan Couture.
They are such different divisions. My brain, because I haven't got it in front of me, I was like, is this like one of those? Because
it's because my head Randy Couture would do really well today, so I thought, there's an opportunity.
Well, do you know what my head was? BJ Penn and Lyoto Machida fought each other. So I was like, okay, like what?
That's weird. Really?
Yeah, they did. They did.
They're such different sizes.
It's insane, right? It's insane.
BJ go up? I'm guessing Lyoto didn't go down. I'm guessing BJ.
Lyoto, I'm fairly certain Lyoto Machida was at heavyweight at that time.
Yeah,
Let me find
BJ Penn was 86 kilos, 191 pound, and Machida was 102 kilos, 225 pounds.
I told you, it seems like heavyweight.
I mean, right. So I have to say, obviously, at a professional level, that's ridiculous. That's not overly ridiculous, but it is knowing that BJ Penn has no business being 191 pounds. Like, if that was a 191 pound guy who is built to be a 191 pound guy, then yeah. But BJ's reach was tiny, like for his weight division. Like,
Exactly, man.
mate, do you remember? Do you remember trying to play with him on when we used to play?
Yeah. Oh
before
my
EA
god.
UFC, it was UFC Undisputed. We had UFC Undisputed 3. Mate, trying to play with BJ Penn was impossible. It was all elbows. You couldn't.
Yeah, I know.
You had to be so close to someone to hit him.
And what's crazy is like he was one of the best ones on the game, but he was just so hard to fight with.
He was, yeah. He had good movements, but you had to be right in front of someone to hit him. It'd be like doing head kicks, but like from shorter than boxing range.
Speaking of crazy weights, look, people are going to be listening to this and being like, I don't care about this old game. But do you remember that time that we kind of glitched the game to have Brock Lesnar versus Demetrius Johnson?
I do. Oh, man.
And DJ won. He fucked him up.
Right. This is going to sound so... I don't know. Maybe we all live the same lives and we all used to do the same shit. So me and Ian sometimes, right, especially if we were like watching the UFC that night or like if we were doing something else, we would set UFC up for the computer to fight itself. Like, put on matches that you wouldn't normally see. Like, so we'd be like, oh, I wonder what would happen if this person fought this person. And we just leave it to run. And like, so that sounds so boring now, doesn't it? But like,
it does when you say it to people.
Like a fight simulator. Oh, I wonder who would win. And then that's, I don't know. Yeah, DJ did win. I think he choked him out or something.
He did. He got it. The bit I remember like really well is when he had him in full mount and was like, just...
I bet DJ couldn't get both knees on the ground if he was in full mount on Brock Lesnar. It's ridiculous, but how funny.
Oh man.
That's so funny, man. Mate, that was honestly, I think those UFC Undisputed games were better than the EA ones.
I've played ages ago. I played with you on the EA one. I didn't really enjoy it, man.
The first one was hilarious. Do you remember the glitches? Oh my
yeah.
God.
Oh my god. People flying through the fucking cage.
Yeah,
it's insane.
That's good.
It's so funny. But I just it didn't really. Undisputed kind of made sense, like when you played it.
Yeah, whereas made sense. It was very. I feel like EA UFC they tried way too hard to make it realistic, and it just became a mess.
It did
spaghetti arm mess.
Yeah, if you wanted to do it realistically, go train in mixed martial arts. But it's a video game. Like I don't need it to be like
go train. I get what you're saying, but you can't really like. Oh, if you played the new FIFA, fuck FIFA. Like I'm gonna try and join the Premier League. Go play for Chelsea.
What I mean,
and I'm gonna play every player. I'm gonna play all 11 positions.
But FIFA isn't. But FIFA's not like football, right? Like you don't when you're playing FIFA. It's not like
almost exactly football. That's
no.
Well, that's what they're going for anyway. That's what they're trying to emulate. They're doing their best, Ian. It's supposed to be football. FIFA is.
It's supposed to be football, but it constantly comes out as boxing.
You mean like it's not in first person?
Yeah, you're not like in football when you go play football. At least I don't play football, so maybe somebody can tell me this. But I'm fairly certain you don't press a button to kick your foot. Like you just kick, you just do it. Whereas when you're playing a video game, when they're like, "Oh, it's as if you're there," no, it's not. It's never like that. That's not how it is. You're playing a video game. Like Grand Theft Auto isn't like real life. Like that's what I mean.
You're brave enough.
Depends. That's what I'm saying. Depends what you do on your weekend.
I think it's aside from the cheat codes, I think Grand Theft Auto is exactly like real life.
Well, it's exactly like John Jones's life.
You're
probably
avoiding the consequences on the game than you are in person. You can go out and steal cars and beat people up and do whatever. But then when the police come, you've also got to get away. That's exactly how life works, Ian. I think it's pretty accurate.
Maybe this podcast should be us judging games on how accurate they are to life.
Could do.
Super Mario, not really. Not very close.
I mean,
Have you tried jumping on a turtle recently? Doesn't happen like that, mate.
Forget
It's not
about what
great.
he's jumping on. It bothers me how high he can jump. His vertical, he jumps around 3 times the height of his body. So
Can you not do that?
Okay, let's assume the average height of a man is what, 5'10"?
But he's quite short, isn't he?
So what, like an inch? Depends how big your TV is. Am I playing it on a Game Boy or on the TV?
I was about to say the platform
Right,
is important,
hang
isn't it?
Italian man. Hang on, pre-mushroom or post-mushroom?
Pre-mushroom, not post-mushroom. Mushroom's
Well, hang
him on
on.
drugs.
Right, okay. That might be even worse. Anyway, Italian man average height is 177 centimeters. 177 centimeters, right?
Okay.
He can jump about 3 times his body height. Okay. So
Okay.
that's like jumping 5 meters 30 into the air. That's
Yeah.
high. That's high.
That seems reasonable.
Hang on. How high is a basketball hoop? 11 feet. 11 foot in meters, right? Is 3.3 meters. He can jump 5.3 meters or thereabouts. I haven't mentioned
Jesus.
it.
Yeah, not very accurate at Super Mario. Not very.
Not accurate at all.
This is spiraled, man. I don't know where this has gone.
Oh, and he can shoot fire, but only if he eats a flower.
Yeah, that. I mean, again, you need to find the right flower. That's our problem, not the game.
Yeah. I'm sure somewhere in the Amazon, somewhere deep in the rainforest,
Yeah, there's a
that
flower.
exists.
It's your Spitfire. That's
Yeah.
that's what it is. But yeah, getting it back to. I don't like the EA game anyway, but I have no idea. Oh yeah, Johnson, Brock Lesnar. That's how we got here. I was about to say the listeners like,
You
what
don't
the
have to
fuck?
Unwind it all. You don't have to go back through everything we've said.
Then move on. Let's move on.
For fuck's sake. Right, anyone who's interested, on my DNA page at dna.mma on Instagram. On Sunday, we've got some fights on, which will be free for everyone to watch.
They are great to watch, man. I've been watching them. Like
Thank
the when you've done them, I've been really enjoying them. There was one time which I met the guy at your when you came to Bellator, and he came late. I think he's from France.
From France?
Yeah, is he not from France?
Oh, sorry, Xavi. Portuguese
Yeah.
guy.
Portuguese. Wow, that's terrible of me.
Same thing.
That's terrible. That's really bad.
Same thing.
God.
Portuguese, French, whatever. Just fucking Europe, aren't they?
I feel terrible, man. That's really
You
bad.
should feel terrible.
To be fair, I didn't speak to him that evening. That was a shame, but because he came late, he came during the fights.
He did.
Anyway, I watched him versus a gentleman with blonde hair. Jesus, man, they were going for it.
That would have been Chris. And Chris he's got 2 matches on Sunday. He has a jiu-jitsu match and an MMA match.
2 matches.
2 matches. You heard me.
Jesus, man. What a legend. He's going
he's a
for
cool
it.
guy. Mate, so
Man,
we've got 2 jiu-jitsu matches, 2 Muay
Nice.
Thai matches, and 2 MMA matches.
Amazing.
That's going to be really good.
I think everybody, if you guys haven't watched them yet, do it. It's honestly like a really, really good time just to watch them on Instagram. There's commentary now as well. On the last one, there was commentary, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, we're doing that. We've got commentators again.
Yeah, it was really good. And it's like, it's obviously, it's amateur fights, but they really put all their heart into it. And I was really impressed with it, mate.
Sometimes they're the best ones to watch because they just slug it out. Like there's no
That's
like,
what happened
feeling
in
out
that
process.
fight.
It's like ding ding round 1. Right, you're gonna get it, bitch.
Yeah, mate, I was like on the train, like going to jiu-jitsu, watching their fight, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is going nuts.
Yeah, mad.
It was really good fight.
Last time, one of my favourite fights was one of the lads. He's called Ben. He's competing again this weekend, but he's doing jiu-jitsu this time.
Cool.
He was fighting. It was Big Ben Atkin. We've got all the nicknames, and Kyle Diazepam Dyer, mate. Like both of them are pretty good when we're doing pad work and sparring and everything. But then as soon as they got in there, they both just had their hands down and they were just rock'em sock'em robots, taking it in turns to smash each other. It was very funny to watch. But like I was reffing, so like as the coach, I have to hold myself back from giving advice during the fight. But both of them had their hands down, and I was just like, boys, put your fucking hands down. Like, imagine like, you know what I mean, the refs just getting involved and just be like, you know, you're doing it wrong.
yeah. This is not what I'd recommend.
It's unsafe. Yeah.
I was about to ask, do you like? But you've kind of answered that. Because during the Chevy Chris fight, I saw they had corners. Did they have people advising them in their corners, or
Yes,
is it
so
like
they all obviously they all bring a corner man, or like if they don't have anyone, just someone else from the class will step in to be their
Nice.
corner man, just to bring them a bit of water and give them a bit of advice between rounds.
You should probably put your hands up. That's what I would.
Yeah, I'd
do.
put your hands up. If he's punching your face, put something between him and your face.
Yeah, preferably your hands.
That's yeah.
Yeah, preferably hands. But
Yeah,
you
so that should
do
be really good, man. So again, that's on my Instagram at dna.mma, and that will be live at 10 a.m. on Sunday, the 28th of November. And then after it's been live, it will be shared to my page, the full video. And Xavi, the French guy you were talking about, he he records them all as well on his proper camera. So they'll be all HD on my YouTube channel.
Sound.
What? Right, I don't even know, mate. I'm going to sound old here. Like this is the kind of thing I definitely used to know. If people want to look at my YouTube, like, do I have like a username, or like, do they need the link?
You should do.
I mean, I'm
like,
DNA MMA.
Yeah, bear with. Let me look that up. I'll tell you now if that works.
Username, or I mean,
it's a channel name. It's a
yeah. So DNA MMA. Find it.
DNA MMA.
Yeah, that's me.
Why did I say it like that? Yeah, there you are. There's your channel.
Okay, just search DNA MMA. It's all on there. As is our podcast. I mean, if you're listening to the podcast and you don't know where our YouTube is, it's safe to assume you don't listen to our podcast on my YouTube channel. But it is on my YouTube channel, as are all of those fights. Hang on. Yeah. If anyone wants some recommendations, let's get some recommendations. So, Matt Toes Taus and Grandma.
I was going to say, I'm looking now. There's the one I've found the Big Ben Atkins one. Atkin? Yeah.
Yeah, and Carl Diazepam Dyer.
Yeah, mate, found that one.
That's a funny fight because they are just swanging. Yeah, Xavi and Chris Bland, that was a good one.
That was really good.
Oh, then there's all my Fight-a-thon videos are on there. Then prior to that, there's a really good jiu-jitsu match. I don't know if you've watched it. Right, this is quite funny. So no one really fucking watches my YouTube videos. I get like, I don't know, 100, 200, 300 views per video. Not many. But then I put, fuck me. Right, so then this video, Curly Callum Simpson versus Pippa Dojo Davies. It's a jiu-jitsu match, obviously boy v girl. It's got 14,000 views. That's loads for me.
What?
Well, because it's a boy versus girl, I guess, jiu-jitsu match. It's got 14,000 views, and it's really good. I won't tell you who wins, but it's really good.
That's crazy that it's got so many more than the others.
Mate, so many more than the others. All of the others. I mean, this one, for example, 141 views on this jiu-jitsu match, and then 14,000 on this.
I don't understand why. I would at least think somebody who watched that from those 14,000, I would have thought somebody would have gone, oh, this is cool. I'll watch other videos on this channel.
No, I guess not. That's not how it
14,000, man. That's crazy.
No. And one last one to highlight. Carl Mowgli Barnes and Dan Spinoni Perry. There's a knockout in there. I won't tell you who knocks out who, but it's a very good fight.
Which one?
And there is a knockout. Carl Mowgli Barnes versus Dan Spinoni Perry. So there's a knockout there, and that is good to watch.
Got it.
I won't tell you who.
Save that.
But I will also say, we don't want knockouts. That was an accident, and I'm trying to prevent it for future.
I noticed in the
it did happen.
Xavi one, you were saying like less on the head. I remember you saying in that one.
Yeah, not hitting so hard. It's a sparring match essentially. I'm happy for them to hit each other pretty hard because it's a fight at the end of the day, but I don't want anyone getting knocked out. So for future, as soon as anyone wobbles, it's over. Yeah. And that is what happened actually. Again, unfortunately, that one I was talking about, Big Ben Atkin and Carl Diazepam Dyer, that did finish, but the this sounds really unprofessional now. The camera cut out. I'm not the cameraman, don't blame me, but the camera cut out. It like timed out because the cameraman tried to film like 2 or 3 fights back to back in the same recording to cut later, and that wasn't a good idea. We've learned that now. But unfortunately that one stopped, but that had a finish. But obviously it wasn't a knockout, but one of the guys got
a bit wobbly.
What? Well, I mean, I'll tell you because you can't watch it anyway. Ben hit Kyle with a really good shot, and Kyle just was staring at the floor, like just in space. He wasn't really with us, so I stepped in and stopped that one. That was a good thing.
Yeah. That's the right thing to do. But like, especially it's you want to go off and fight another day. That's the thing. Like it's similar to what I was saying when I was talking to you about that guy who wouldn't tap in the competition. Yeah, he got through, but then he ended up losing the next match. And it's kind of like your arm could have broken, and it's an amateur thing. Just let it go. It's cool. You know, that's kind of the point.
Ian Lunny, thank you.
Yeah, that dickhead.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's been.
Fucking hell.
I was going to say this was meant to be a quick 20 half an hour one. Look, we're back in the old days where we were just rambling for an hour.
Yeah.
Well, it's season 2 finale. This is what we do.
Go out with a bang.
We'll be back for season 3 probably on the weekend. We're probably back on the weekend.
Potentially, maybe with video.
Ooh,
maybe. So
yeah,
check out the YouTube, and you might see us.
You sounded really old then. Sorry, man. Check out the YouTube, kids.
YouTube, yeah.
Isn't it just YouTube? Just check out YouTube. The YouTube. I don't know. Maybe the kids can email in and let us know.
Channel. I think I meant to say the YouTube channel. You are exactly right.
Yep.
I'll be anyway. This will be on the Anchor soon. You can listen to it on the Spotify, the Apple Music. It's not Apple Music, it's Apple Podcasts.
The Apple Podcasts.
I don't even know anymore, man. I feel myself getting older. I was looking at all my grey hairs in the mirror earlier. The light.
You got grey hairs?
Yeah, like in the sides, they come through. Like when it's not shaved close. Not loads, just a few. I'm not getting that just for men though. Fuck that. Fuck
only
that,
slightly,
mate. I'll just go grey with dignity, or I'll shave my head again.
Oh, mate, I'm going silver fox when it happens. That's what I'm going for. When I get grey hair, I'm gonna get that look. That's what I'm going for. I'm not gonna dye it. No chance.
It's a nightmare though, because so in the sun, obviously, is when you see the most colours. I get grey in my hair and I get ginger in my beard, so I've got 3 colours going on.
A very sad rainbow.
A very sad rainbow with only 3 similar colours. It's a deluxe colour chart for people who might kill themselves this winter. Grey, dark brown,
and ginger. Just oh Christ,
Jesus. Well, please today. Fuck's sake. That got dark really quickly, just like the winter nights.
Oh God, what an end to season 2.
We might not be back.
Yeah, that might be it. This might be it. This might be the last one.
We might get shut down. Can't say that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's it. I'm calling it. That's it.
Oh man. That's a bellyache laugh that you can hear at home.
Yeah.
My belly's hurting only a little bit, just only slightly.
Only slightly. Oh, right. Thanks, everyone.
See you next time. See you for season 3.
Possibly.
If you even realised we had seasons, we'll see you in season 3. Okay.
Bye.
I've got a runny nose now. I've got to go. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Combat Casuals podcast.
To get involved with the Ultimate Fighting conversation, email us at combatcasuals@outlook.com.
We can answer your questions in our next podcast.
Or maybe even have you on the show.
Be sure to follow, subscribe, leave us a review, or support us however you can.
Thank you to Me Against the World for our theme music.
Catch you next time.